What's going on? The market is selling off, therefore it's likely that many people are asking themselves that question right now. We are witnessing a significant wipeout event on a daily basis. The majority of this is simply stealing liquidity from major participants, such as Aster, who recently made a significant market move. However, we are also seeing a decline in Bitcoin. Well, currently on the weekly, this is how the weekly appears. A sea of red, still. Many people are merely curious about what's going on, as HBAR is down 5.9% and the majority of cryptocurrencies, including XRP, are also down on a weekly basis. Why is this taking place? Why has Bitcoin dropped to 114.5K? Why has Ethereum dropped back to $4.300? Why is XRP once more below $3? I had assumed that we would perform X, Y, and Z. First of all, I've stated this numerous times over the past few weeks. There will be shakeout activities. The market usually recovers following a rate cut, but then there is a wipeout that sends everyone into a panic. Many folks are shaken out by it. The market then begins to make a significant upward surge. We are currently at the wipeout stage of the rate cut cycle, and this is how the cryptocurrency market is currently looking. As you can see from the 30-day chart for the overall market capitalization of cryptocurrency, this is a significant decline. Once more, we are below $4 trillion. Around 47 is the fear of greed index. Thus, we are still in the neutral zone. Approximately 68 out of 100 is the Queen Season Index overall. There is nothing noteworthy there. Bitcoin is down 1% today, Ethereum is down 3.5%, and XRP is down roughly 2.3%. This indicates that XRP is not as much of a decline as some of these other older coins, such as, for instance, BNB and Solana. Additionally, we remain in the neutral zone when we consider greed and fear. This isn't anything that should cause us to panic or feel unsettled, in my opinion. I continue to believe that the market is experiencing some chop. I am aware that, generally speaking, old coins appear to be being completely destroyed, particularly when you look at the daily. On a daily basis, XRP looks like this. We have 7 days. This month is the one. This brings to mind a lot of shakeouts that we've witnessed in the past, when we usually experience a significant decline followed by a significant rebound. How low do we go in this situation? We're not entirely sure, but if we look at XRP on a daily basis right now, we're witnessing that significant sell-off. I contend that this range of $2.80 to roughly $2.88 would be an excellent place to increase your XRP holdings. Additionally, it would provide a higher low off of the September honest low, which is what I'm essentially examining. I'm keeping an eye out for this area to hold. Additionally, it would be retargeting that liquidity back to July. Therefore, about $2.80 or 1 cent. However, as you can see above, the majority of the old coin market is oversold, or at least close to being oversold. Right now, this is the typical crypto RSI heat map. As you can see up here, many items are overbought, including AVNT, Aster. The majority of these are currently being wiped out, pump-like, and the market is seeing a slight cascade as a result. However, several of these have continued to rise at insane rates during the past day. Over the past 7 days, RSI has been the primary focus of our attention. Many of these are cooked, but many of them are down to the oversold area, where there are plenty buying chances in the old coin market at the moment. However, the query on this move: how low do we go? Right off the bat, more than $300 million was liquidated in the last 60 minutes, with long holdings accounting for $309 million of the total. Many late longs were liquidated. Thus, a liquidation event was brought on by this. This is how Bitcoin seems on a daily basis right now. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have been paying attention to some of the recent updates on what might occur in the market next. The primary focus of my attention was this, and I think it was more prominent for the 3 days. Indeed, that happened on the 3rd day. The closing of this fair value difference was the primary focus of my investigation. At this point, we did reach a peak of roughly $180,000 in Bitcoin. However, there was a fair value discrepancy of roughly 113.3 to, well, 114.5K. Right now, we're hovering close to this. Yes, before this shift, I did have this on this chart. Anybody who's thinking, oh well Nick, you just drew this on the chart now to make it look like you called this, should take note. From the Discord group, we have, by the way, I would strongly encourage all of you to join this Discord group, which you can do right now by reading the description below. You must pay to access this portion of Discord since it is on the premium side. In light of this, though, my primary goal for this week was a close above 116.2K, which would have been favorable, and it would have been the better option. I don't think we'll see it this week though. I mentioned that there is a fair value discrepancy here as well that may be closed. A negative weekend can give way to a bullish week, as has been the case in recent weeks. Given that the weekend has been somewhat bearish, I do believe that we may have a very successful week ahead of us. Examining this on a weekly basis for the fair value gap. Okay, really quickly. Beyond 116K, we didn't close. If we had closed above 116.2K, this would have been terrific. We closed at approximately 115.4K, which was earlier. The week before was this. That week's resistance was this. We therefore closed in on the resistance. We are currently doing the sell-off. Additionally, based on the daily data, I do believe that we will experience a bottoming event at this level. Just so you guys know, we may drop all the way to 113.9K or 113.2K, examining a few of the indicators. Such is the RSI, for instance. There is still a significant decline that could occur on the daily. In actuality, it will depend on how low we drop Bitcoin to. We could still go lower even if we close this fair value gap. The lows from early August might be retested by us. We would still be in a higher low situation at about 112.4K. Holding this low down here is the only thing I truly care about viewing. Therefore, anything related to Bitcoin is free play in this domain. I would simply like for us to hold these lows and maintain those lows on Bitcoin to maintain a constant bullish structure, regardless of whether we bottom around this level or not. We have been producing some higher lows thus far, as well as higher highs, which are technically based on the daily average of the highs from the end of August. It would have been healthier to purchase this now rather than later, so I just want to see us have a nice little sell-off here. Thus, the price action is still sound. After that, there is a small sell-off as we begin the breakouts retest. After that, we begin to break upward. This might occur this week. Additionally, discussing how stocks open, which is the primary topic of discussion this week. Stocks have been extremely optimistic thus far. On Friday, we just closed at our highest point ever. Here, RSI is rather cooked. I'm still keeping an eye on equities to see if they get a little more dull as money moves into Bitcoin. But we might see a sell-off in stocks on Monday's begin. However, closing this fair value disparity was the primary goal I had in mind when I looked at Bitcoin at 116.4K. If somebody is thinking, oh well Nick, you just drew that chart now just to look like you were right, then you should know. On the 19th, I drew this. In any case, let's discuss CZ since they published a really intriguing post. And I must tell you guys, having a cryptocurrency-focused YouTube channel gives us a lot of information on retail engagement. Dumb question about X, CZ said. In a bear market, my following increased rapidly from 9 to 10 million, and even in this bull market, it slowed to a stop after 10 million. In past bull markets, followers experienced rapid growth